Life can be challenging, especially for young people trying to find their way. The journey from childhood to adulthood is often fraught with difficulties, and for some, these challenges can become overwhelming. For this young man, the path was riddled with obstacles from a very early age. He faced numerous hardships that many of his peers could not even imagine, and these struggles began to shape his life in profound ways. He was just 10 years old when he first picked up a cigarette, the taste of tobacco smoke a dangerous comfort in his young life. It was a small act of rebellion, a way to cope with the stress and confusion that surrounded him. By the time he was 12, alcohol had entered the picture, a toxic escape from the mounting pressures he faced. The allure of alcohol was strong, offering a brief respite from the chaos of his world. At 14, the allure of drugs proved too strong to resist, and he began experimenting with substances that offered a temporary reprieve from his reality. Each new substance brought with it a fleeting sense of relief, but also deeper entanglement in a web of addiction. Each puff of a cigarette, each sip of alcohol, each hit of a drug was a step further down a dark and dangerous path. The substances that once seemed to offer solace were now chains that bound him tighter with every use. His young life, once filled with promise and potential, was quickly spiraling out of control. The dreams he once had were now overshadowed by the haze of addiction, and the future seemed bleak. The weight of these choices began to suffocate him, leaving him feeling lost and alone. The isolation was profound, as he struggled to find a way out of the darkness that had enveloped his life. He was trapped in a vicious cycle of addiction, unable to see a way out. Each day was a battle, and the hope that once burned brightly within him was now a distant memory. The young man's story is a stark reminder of the devastating grip of addiction and the importance of early intervention. It highlights the need for support systems that can help guide young people through their struggles, offering them a chance to reclaim their lives before it's too late. At the tender age of 13, he faced a life-altering event. His girlfriend became pregnant. This unexpected news hit them like a tidal wave, bringing with it a mix of emotions that neither of them were prepared to handle. They were just kids themselves, suddenly thrust into the adult world of responsibilities and decisions. This news, heavy with responsibility and fear, added another layer of complexity to his already troubled life. The carefree days of adolescence were abruptly replaced by the daunting reality of impending parenthood. Every step they took was now shadowed by uncertainty and anxiety. The weight of impending fatherhood proved too much to bear, and he made the difficult decision to drop out of school. Leaving behind his education was not an easy choice, but he felt it was the only option. The hallways that once echoed with laughter and learning now seemed like a distant memory. The future seemed bleak, his dreams and aspirations replaced by the harsh realities of his situation. The plans he once had for his life were now overshadowed by the immediate need to survive and provide. The world felt like a much colder place, and hope seemed to slip further away with each passing day. He was a father now, a role he was ill-equipped to handle, and the burden of providing for his child weighed heavily on his young shoulders. The sleepless nights and endless worries took a toll on him, both physically and emotionally. He often found himself questioning if he could ever be the parent his child needed. The cycle of addiction tightened its grip, offering a temporary escape from the overwhelming pressures of teenage parenthood. Substance abuse became a coping mechanism, a way to numb the pain and fear that constantly gnawed at him. But this escape was fleeting, and the consequences were devastating. His life, once filled with promise, was now consumed by the challenges of raising a child while battling his own demons. The dreams he once held dear seemed like distant echoes, replaced by the daily struggle to keep going. Every smile from his child was a reminder of what he was fighting for. Yet the battle within himself raged on. The odds were stacked against him, but deep down a flicker of hope remained, a desire for a better life for himself and his child. Despite the overwhelming challenges, he clung to the belief that change was possible. That small glimmer of hope was his guiding light, pushing him to strive for a future where both he and his child could thrive. As the years passed, his addiction spiraled further out of control. What started as a means to cope with life's pressures soon became an unrelenting force, consuming every aspect of his existence. The substances that once offered a temporary escape now held him captive, dictating his every move. His days blurred into nights, and the line between reality and the haze of intoxication grew increasingly thin. His life became a series of bad decisions, broken promises, and missed opportunities. Relationships with family and friends deteriorated, and he found himself isolated with only his addiction for company. One fateful night, he reached his breaking point. The weight of his choices came crashing down, leaving him in a state of utter despair. The details are unimportant, but the result was a harsh wake-up call. He realized that if he continued down this path, there would be no turning back. He had hit rock bottom, and the only way left to go was up. It was a moment of clarity, a brief glimpse of hope amidst the darkness. It was then that his father, a beacon of hope in his otherwise tumultuous life, decided to intervene. His father had always been a steady presence, even when everything else seemed to be falling apart. He had watched helplessly as his son succumbed to the grips of addiction, his heart breaking a little more each day. The pain of seeing his child suffer was unbearable, but he never gave up hope. He knew he couldn't stand by and watch his son destroy himself any longer. The time had come to take action, to offer a way out of the darkness. With a heavy heart but unwavering determination, he confronted his son, offering him a lifeline, a chance at redemption. It was a pivotal moment, one that would change the course of their lives forever. Section 4. A Glimmer of Hope, Treatment and Sobriety. The road to recovery was long and arduous, filled with setbacks and temptations. He entered treatment determined to turn his life around. The withdrawal symptoms were intense, both physically and emotionally, testing his resolve every step of the way. He learned to confront the underlying issues that fueled his addiction, to identify his triggers and to develop coping mechanisms. Slowly but surely, with each passing day, he began to reclaim his life. Support from his family, friends, and fellow recovering addicts proved invaluable. Their unwavering belief in him gave him the strength to keep going when times got tough. He learned the true meaning of accountability, taking responsibility for his actions and making amends for his past mistakes. Section 5. Building a new life, career and marriage. With newfound sobriety came a renewed sense of purpose. He was determined to make something of his life, to be a role model for his child. He enrolled in community college, taking classes at night while working during the day. He met a woman, a beacon of light in his life, who saw past his troubled past and embraced the man he was striving to become. They fell in love, and he made a promise to her and to himself to stay sober, to be a good husband and provider. His hard work paid off. He completed his degree and secured a stable job. Proving to himself and everyone around him that he was capable of change, he married the love of his life, starting a new chapter filled with hope and promise. Section 6. Overcoming obstacles, early marital struggles. Marriage, like any relationship, has its challenges. The early years of their marriage were not without their share of difficulties. Old habits die hard, and he found himself slipping back into old patterns of behavior. Arguments ensued, testing the very foundation of their relationship. They sought counseling, both individually and together, determined to work through their issues. Through open and honest communication, they learned to understand each other's needs and expectations. He realized the importance of accountability, not just to himself, but to his wife as well. He leaned on his support system, drawing strength from those who had helped him through his darkest hours. Section 7. Redemption and Triumph. A life transformed. Today, at the age of 55, he is living proof that redemption is possible. He's a successful business owner, a loving husband, and a doting grandfather to 2 beautiful granddaughters. His journey has been long and arduous, but he wouldn't trade it for the world. He is a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of forgiveness, and the transformative power of love. His story is an inspiration to anyone struggling with addiction, reminding them that it's never too late to turn their lives around. He is a beacon of hope, a shining example that even in the darkest of times, light can be found.